Okay, thank you all for coming to our presentation on formative assessments. And for you folks that don't know me, my name is Nicole Cogliandro, and I work here at Windsor Woods. And
Hi, I'm Kristin Dailey. I'm an education specialist with the ASP program in Virginia Beach. So, the schools I'm at right now are Salem Elementary and Rosemont Forest. I know that all of you guys know each other pretty well from Windsor Woods. I just want to, you guys can introduce yourselves from my classrooms.
My name is Becky. I'm a teacher at Salem Elementary. My name is Lauren. I'm a teacher specialist. I work with you guys at Salem.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Wow. And I think you might all know Nicole as well. Nicole.
Yeah,
Nicole's with our ASP program as well, but she is in-house. So, all right, so to go over a little bit of what we're doing, we have our agenda up here. We just did our introductions. We're just going to review the objectives for today. Then we're going to have just some quick dialogue about some formative assessments and personal experiences that you've had on your own. We're going to split up and do some group work. Carousel wheel, which is also some group work, some brainstorming ideas. Then we're going to take time to plan, bring it in to your personal experiences, and then we're going to have some reflection about some formative assessment that we've discovered today, and then answer any other questions that you guys may have. Okay?
okay, thanks. All right, so our objectives are, we'd like for you to know what formative assessment is, and it's an ongoing variety of assessments used to provide planning for teachers and feedbacks for students about their learning. And we would like for you to understand that formative assessment is the bridge that connects teaching and learning. And by the end, we would like for you to create a plan for next steps for improving the use of formative assessments within your classroom.
All right, I know it's been a long day, so we're going to kind of have you guys get up and move a little bit. Sorry. But just to kind of just get up, you can choose, eye contact partner. It's pretty much getting up, and whoever you see first, you can just partner up with them and kind of just converse with them, start some dialogue. But we're going to put up a quote, what that quote might mean to you, and some personal experience that you've had with formative assessment. Okay? We'll just take about 2 minutes. All right, go ahead.
Or you have a pencil. Everyone has something to write with. Never mind. It's okay. Perfect. Thank you.
I say beside my students during assessment.
Did you guys know that it meant? Yeah, it's interesting.
So why we use it now is to we go through the walk with our students, we walk with them, we accompany them, we're beside them as we are trying to assess what they know.
Some great ideas.
That process together.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Because learning is, you have to work together to be beside that person, I guess.
Yes, that sounds very good.
All right, does anyone want to share out of what you and your partner kind of had any relevation of what kind of this quote mean to you, or any personal experience from what this quote could mean to you?
You said that when it says to set aside, it's maybe the teacher with the student trying to find out what the student needs, what the student can do to help the student, or what the teacher can do to help the student become a better student.
Absolutely.
Did any?
We had talked about looking at assessment as in the past as almost being punitive or just judging the student based on, but really assessment should be how do we help them get to the next step? Is it different way working?
And that's just what I was gonna ask, if anyone had looked at assessment and thought of it as just, whether they're right or wrong. And at least when I thought of it before, I would never have thought it meant to sit beside, so.
Yeah. Alright. Before we move on, we're also gonna just have you, you all have a red binder, anywhere on the copy of the PowerPoint. You guys can just jot down, think and write about what you think right now. What do you think is more important within your classroom? The formative or the summative assessment? What do you think is more important in your classroom right now? The formative or
Joe,
summative?
do you get a folder?
Yeah, if anyone needs pencil or markers, you know, let me know as well. Yeah, you can write that. That's. All right, Nicole. Nicole.
Oh, sorry. Does anyone want to share out what they thought was more important, formative or summative?
Well, I think I'm leaning more towards formative just because you can make them as, you can make it informal, if it makes sense, right? Not like an actual test, and the kids feel less stressed, and you might be able to get more accurate data on what they know, rather than for actual summative or being single test. Kids get more
Sure.
nervous. And a lot of times in this question that they would have if it was a more relaxed environment.
Sure.
I said they were both important, and just that the formative helps the student become prepared for the summative, and you can adjust your formatives along the way to get them more ready for the summative.
Good. Anyone else? Okay. All right, so yes, ongoing assessment is what you need for formatives. In order to have ongoing formative assessment, you have to have a plan in line for those high achieving students and those low achieving students. And we're all busy. We give out formative assessments all the time. But if we don't have a chance to go back and look at the data, then it's really just a waste of time. And I kind of look at it like this. If you were home and you were vacuuming the rug, and you vacuumed all downstairs, and you vacuumed all upstairs, and your husband comes home and he's like,
Or your wife.
your house, it looks amazing. Oh my God, Nicole, the rug looks awesome. And you have all the lines like lined up perfectly with the rug, And then I'm like, thanks. And they're like, okay, well, go ahead and do it again. Like, why? I already did it, and I showed you I can do it. I'm great at vacuuming, So I think a lot of times our kids, especially the ones that are pretty bright, think like that because we're busy. We have a plan, and this is what we're going to do, and we just put it out there without really thinking about, where they're at in terms of their learning. So we have to prepare our students by aligning our formatives with the summatives, like we had said about the summatives and formatives being important. If we look at our summatives first and kind of line them up to match the summatives to make sure that we're hitting the different objectives that we need to get to the summatives, then we're on the right path there. Okay, so analyzing results. If we don't analyze the results and look at the formative assessments, and there's almost like a misfiring in learning, consider this scenario that you have a summative, and it is asking you have $5, you buy a book for $3.75. How much change will you receive? Okay, so a formative, what would be some formative assessments that would align to this summative? So this, just say the summative was asking, you have $5, you buy a book for $3.75. It would just focus primarily just on this one question. What would be some formatives that would line up with this summative?
I think they could use actual money.
Yeah, use,
So how many ways can you make that
yeah.
Carrying number, or subtracting the carrying number.
Oh, yeah, good. Yeah, so what about if you had plans with formatives, is there any way you could change it? Because we're all busy, and it's really hard to really make lessons for each individual student at their level, especially by the end of the year when we have 13 kids, sometimes, and there's behaviors. So are you able to really have different formative assessments for each kid, on paper? Or realistically? Yeah, it's difficult. But couldn't you adjust it so that it would be able to fit all of the kids? So even if you had you had a plan of one formative, you could maybe adjust it so it would work for the lower kids and for the higher kids and the in-between kids? Okay. All right, so let's consider this scenario. Miss Shamrock is teaching place value to her students, and she has given all of her students a pre-assessment. So she looks at the pre-assessments and she groups the students accordingly. Throughout the week of teaching place value, she gives her students the formative assessment she had made last week. So she completes the lesson and gives all the students the same summative, okay? So if you look in your folders, there's summatives on the left side, and those are the results that she had gotten.
You guys can take time with your groups that you're in. It's all right. And kind of look through these and see anything that pops out to you. And we'll go over what maybe Ms. Shamrock could have done differently, how she could have used looking at these to kind of form some different ways to assess her students. You guys can discuss with your group too. And as you guys can probably easily see, we have a very high achieving student, middle of the road achieving student, and struggling student. So maybe look at the struggling student a little bit closer and see if there's anything that might stick out to you if you analyzed that.
Maybe they needed to start with smaller numbers before little Bobby. Bobby needed smaller numbers.
There was
Yeah. So he puts his comma after the first number, regardless of
Sound about right?
He didn't understand that he was that nine.
Yeah, but
At least he could count.
and this one. Okay, that's what you're saying, yeah. She'll get it.
All right, I'm going to throw you off for a loop now. I'm going to give you one more piece of paper of after the teacher looked closer at Bobby's paper, she thought maybe Looking at his reading scores, his reading may have had something to do with his low scores in math. Because there was a lot of reading. So on this assessment, the teacher thought maybe if she read aloud the numbers and the place value section, that it could assist him. Does anyone want to volunteer to see what made the difference? After looking at it, what do you think that by reassessing him did the teacher see?
He knew a lot more than portrayed here.
So did he know the standard that she is trying to get at for place value?
Well, not completely.
Not completely.
Right, he doesn't read it.
The standard still is reading, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, go ahead.
Okay.
So do we know where that Bobby needs his concentration on? Where the remediation would need it?
Definitely reading.
Right.
Well, Ms. Jones had a good idea of with Bobby, instead of giving him this all at once, just focusing on the top part here, kind of breaking up that middle section, that could have been a lot for him. And in the end, you have the full page, but just giving it piece by piece, maybe it wouldn't overwhelm him as much, help him focus.
Right.
Okay.
So just to summarize that, for really taking a closer look at our assessments, we can kind of break down what our students' needs are and what formative assessment and remediation is needed to better fit their needs. Okay, now we're going to just do a brainstorming activity. You guys can.
I'm going to call on one of these guys.
Okay, great.
So if you guys want to look at your ticket real quick, and I'm going to pull that. Okay. So the last three, I think, are different. 418. Oh, you never did. Oh, you got it. No, it's okay.
Want to clear
No,
spot
it's
on
okay.
that?
It's okay. It's fine. There's other ones.
Move too much. All right, so for a carousel, you're going to start where you are, but you will have to get up and move around. Just this is brainstorming, so things to consider while you guys are at your groups. We have what is it used for, how does it help you within the classroom, who does it help in the classroom. So just things to think about. We can.
Wait a minute. We're just talking about assessment.
Yes, ma'am.
Formative.
Yep. It's a
Okay.
different
Carousel wheel for me. What's the carousel wheel for?
carousel. It's just you.
We're going to
Carouseling around.
Okay. That's what I thought.
You are the carousel wheel. All right, we're gonna.
So if you want to
You
start
can start
here
where you
with
are,
formative
and I'll let you know when
assessments
to
and
switch.
questions.
Final competency at the standard.
Identify strength and what we need to do with that.
What y'all saying, final something?
I would say it's all.
Anybody spelling them?
How much do kids really learn? Yeah, I would know. Who doesn't know? Who? Yeah, that's that long thing. Yeah.
It's the end of the day.
Also,
Well, yeah, we can wait until they're done.
Right, well, it need to review, remediate, or.
We use
is that kind of what this is?
pre-assessment.
There'll be some Friday that.
Let's say you gave the message to the Red Sox, and then you gave your first something, and everybody was doing really good.
All right, guys, let's switch.
Okay, which way is the parasol?
Leave our marker.
Go this way.
We'll be going, yeah, clockwise.
So we go over here.
Clockwise, yep.
Serious about it.
Oh, I guess. Oh, we didn't answer that. Assessment, got that. All right.
All right, let's try to answer
These are just like.
Yeah, leave that, okay.
God instruction.
The lesson was great. It was really good too.
Over here, she has all these long answer phrases.
Yeah, I just.
What'd she say? What'd you say? They said, how do you say, it's gonna let you know how they're doing the SOL, so I said, projected SOL success, and they're like, making fun of me.
No, I'm not making fun of you. When I write my paper,
Oh, yeah. They're impressed. They are
how do I
impressed.
say? Okay, how do you say? I'm in school, but
Yeah, I'm in school, so. For mine, it's like, extinction.
Well, it's something for the next year too, something.
For that student for the next school year?
No, for that, like for fifth grade. More than one vision. We need to do something different the next year. So how do you say that, Amanda? Oh, very good.
All right, you can finish up what you're writing and then we'll switch again.
It can also be used as a regression.
Oh.
Oh, that's good.
It brings in his behavioral time.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Regression indicator.
Finishing up, then we'll switch.
Well, that's
That looks good, right?
regression indicator.
Okay, yep. One more time.
Yeah, top that.
Oh, I don't think it'll be.
We set the bar high.
Well, the young mind set the bar high.
this one right there. Oh, need another pen? Might be getting a little more difficult since you're the last round.
Check mark next to it.
Oh, allows the open dialogue.
I don't think it should be. I think, yeah, if you teach a lesson, you have a summative in 6 or 12. That's my final determination. Really, you can reassess them throughout the year or so, you know what I mean?
Kind of goes.
To it, because they still need to know it if they didn't do well.
So if I determine a student is proficient,
Right.
6 or 12, you know, I can't remember chapter 1, so it's not wrong. So you gotta kind of, I think if you view it that way, then it's misleading of what the purpose is.
But it could be immediately the final determination comes to that lesson, that they had just
So
Right, no, I see, yeah, I mean, I see what you're.
you guys can add in parentheses for that lesson. Put another color. So you're not taking away their idea. Yeah, I saw it.
Okay, but they said, I'm sure they said something about the lessons.
How to differentiate
And it's kind of determined
How frustrating it
what, which students need that extra remediation at some point. Like with us, it would be taken through, that they need to stay wherever they are, if they want to do that.
Formative is fine, and then criticize
Nothing else gonna
Anything
happen.
else?
Nothing else gonna happen.
All right, one more minute, guys. Then we'll get back together.
I got a little lullaby there.
No, that's what reminder I need to email parents.
She said she got it off the lullaby
Sunday would help out.
the whole thing, it's that little tinny music. She said, everybody's playing popular music. That's what he said. Yeah, they really do. They like to listen today. They like music today. I'm like, yeah, so they've been in the room all day.
A rainbow song, she had lots of ribbons on her.
All right. You guys can finish up what you're writing and go back to your original seat.
Yeah, one by one.
Not one by one, but like each.
Each group.
Top right.
Oh. Okay, does anyone want to share any takeaways? Maybe that's something that they hadn't known prior to doing the carousel? About assessment data?
Or now looking at it now that people have added? Anything that sticks out to you? Or any, I know there may have been some differences of opinions on some of them that you guys can share out too. I think for assessment data, it all kind of goes together. I see some check marks. So we have guide instruction, identify strengths, weaknesses. It's ongoing. Know where to make changes. It helps teachers, students, and parents. So pretty much the whole team. Long-term evidence of student growth. Projected SOL success. Improve instruction for following year. Regression indicator, something we can pass to other teachers, pass on to other teachers, and provides evidence of students' progress for IEP purposes. Okay?
Okay, what about the formative assessment? Like the temperature check, I thought that was cool. I like that. I don't know who said that.
I did.
Oh, that, oh, of course. Yeah, that was good. That's good.
So, Mr. Brown, what do you mean by that?
So I think we look at formative assessment, we talk about it, really, so if I'm teaching a lesson, or if I'm teaching a unit on, I keep using it, ancient China, and, I teach, and they're just regurgitating the facts on the economics of China, right? And I do an exit slip, or I do just oral response, and I talk to my student, Ms. Bauer, and I say, tell me about the economics of China. She's just regurgitating those facts. And I thought my lesson went really well, but she doesn't know what economics is. To me, I need to change my lessons because all she's doing is just regurgitating those facts. She's not really understanding the economics of China. That's a temperature check to me. Then I can say, okay, I need to go back and teach more of these concepts of what economics are, or physical regions. But I think formative assessments should look like, kids are all on a different path to learning. Formative assessments is kind of that road stop. Hey, let's all stop at this road stop here. Let's just see where we're at. Let's get that temperature check. It will help me guide towards the next formative assessment. So.
Great. Did anyone feel like it allows open dialogue of student progress? Did that kind of a takeaway? Because we're all so busy, sometimes you can just sit down and ask them, and write it down, and you don't necessarily need a paper-based, formative assessment if you just sit beside them and ask them the questions. Okay.
I'll say one more thing. I think we always think about exit slips or 3-2-1 slips, and really a lot of times we do it just because, Mr. Brown's saying give an exit slip. Here's your exit slip. But with that money formative assessment, it could be as simple as, hey, have you ever bought candy at a store? And you're like, yeah, I bought a Snickers bar. I like Snickers bar. How much did it cost? It cost $1.25. Well, how much did you give them? I gave them $2. Well, how much change did you? That conversation, that's a formative assessment. You don't need to get an exit slip. Just talking to them and then writing down, talk to so-and-so on this date, seems to understand the concept of money, not clear on the, scope of how much money he's giving back,
Right.
So stuff like that is all stuff you can use to help gauge a student.
Right. I think a lot of times we all use formative assessments and we don't realize it, or else you do it, you have that conversation, then you forget to write it down, and you're like, oh no, I think that one does know this, or maybe this student doesn't. But if you just jot it down real quick, it will save you some time later with
Which goes
planning.
back to the assessment data.
Yeah, and it's always ongoing, It's not just a one-time paper kind of thing. Summative assessment. Did anyone take away anything different than what they had thought prior? Or does anyone see, or does anyone, in their minds, does it look different now? So there's plans for next week, final determination. What does that say in the parentheses?
For that lesson, I think.
Okay, that's good. Who wrote that one?
Do you guys want to speak on it?
Oh, good, okay.
I guess the point was that it doesn't necessarily want to be the last and final time we ever teach them that piece of lesson. If it's still something that they need work on, they don't understand economics or they don't understand what money is and they're talking about money, then you want to be able to go back and remediate that and be able to assess that as well. So that's why we just said for that specific lesson.
Sure, yeah, and that's a good point, because, when we think, at least when I think of it as a summary of just that. Okay, now let's move on, but yeah, it's always, learning is nonstop.
Can you have a certain objective that you might touch on in September and October, and you even might give a summative assessment on that, but go back and touch on those objectives later in the year as well?
Right.
Sure.
And not say that, okay, that's final, I'm not touching on that again. Like, one of my PE objectives is dealing with, basically how, almost like a sportsmanship one. Well, to me, that's like ongoing throughout the year.
Right.
You can't just grade them or assess them on sportsmanship the first quarter. I wanna look at that and
Right,
see how
because
they-
you want to show their progress.
For the year.
Yeah, so that, for sure, you would.
can go back
Mhm.
and I retouch on these objectives. You don't have to just hit something one time during the year and not hit it again.
I feel like it's the same thing with the ELA objectives. The ELA objectives are something that you continuously work on, and you may have a summative assessment to see because you specifically targeted a certain skill, but you're still gonna be working on that even though you may not present that with another, summative assessment that's gonna be a test grade.
Those are great points. And with that being said, what are your feelings on, can a summative become a formative? Yeah. If you're seeing that that formative might not have, it might work better. Sorry, the summative work better as a formative assessment, and then you might need to reteach the student and actually give another summative. And so you're changing that summative to becoming a formative assessment.
I think you should look at learning as a verb, not a noun. I mean, if you look at learning as a noun, then you're saying, gave the summit on September 18th, kid got a proficient or an 80, that's what he got. But if you look at learning as a verb, got an 80 this time, but I'm going to keep teaching this. I'm going to look at sportsmanship. He was having a rough 2 weeks, but he's really showing me throughout the year he's grasping this. I need to reassess what he does, and that's learning as a verb.
Absolutely, especially with the population of students that we all work with, because we know that there's better days than others, better weeks than others, so those all can take an effect with that. So, all right.
Okay, so now we would like to give you folks an opportunity to look at your own summatives. So I have Ms. Thompson, you'd given me yours. And maybe you could share, or someone could share with Ms. Mayweather. And then Marty, there's yours.
Next week's summative,
Yes.
next week.
So, and then also, all right, so we're going to look at your summatives, but we're going to plan for what possible formatives you could use that would target these learning objectives, okay? And within your packets, I have a chart. It says effective assessment. It's on the left side of your packet. So if you look on the left, it says type of learning objectives. So if it's just say basic recall, on the right side it gives you what an appropriate assessment would be for just recall. Or if you go further down, maybe the type of learning objective is analyzing, analyzing a reading passage. So an appropriate assessment would be case studies, critiques, labs, papers. And then also, so you want to look at your verbs and see what assessment it would align with. And then we also provided another sheet. It says a sample of types of formative assessments. So this just gives you some more information on different formative assessments that you can use. And then even after this training, you can, if you want to go back, and there's additional information on here and suggestions for how to use it. And then, let's see, I have, thank you.
Yeah, they should.
Yes.
There should be one on
There should be
each.
one on, I think some of you have gotten this from Dr. Rhodes at the beginning of, or at the end of last year, I think, beginning of this year. And it has 56 different examples of formative assessments, okay? So you can look at this. So I think everyone should have one on, and if you want your own copy after this, let me know. I just didn't want to print out that's a lot of paper, so, if you.
We can email it.
Yeah, we can
if you don't
email it
have
to
it.
you, yeah, for sure.
Still a lot of paper.
Oh, sure, yeah. So you want to look at your objectives and you want to make sure that, are you clear about what it is that they need to learn? Are they aligned? So the formatives that you are going to use, are they going to be aligned with your summatives?
For our students, a lot
And
of times it's gonna.
do you think that the formatives that you're going to use, will that provide you with the data you need to keep going,
There's other SLLs, that's where we have to be creative with
Right.
when, how to.
So if you
that,
want
our
to, go
students
ahead and take the time to do that. I have paper if you need.
interpret things and
Work well with Yeah, so the student demonstrates knowledge and understanding of life in Mali long ago. So, demonstrates knowledge and understanding. For this, well, we kind of have to know the
I mean, if you know the substandard.
substandard.
Yeah, you're gonna,
This
those
one
will all be
is
covered.
different.
I mean, I remember doing this with my third grades.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
Aspects of.
But like all the substandards, they all cover each of these topics. So,
Understand, and typically.
yeah, but essentially you're teaching it all and
Typically my
formatively assessing them
are very closely.
like throughout the week or however long it is that you teach it.
Of what my summative is.
So
that
maybe
if my
it's,
kids
and you could
know the
have
planet, but now
more than
they
one
have it,
summative
I
too.
can
You could have
see
one
Right, you can
summative
use it
that
as the-
has just terms,
Yeah, and then it kind of shows me
definitions, and then,
throughout the different
because you always have to
bullet
have,
points of the
those
actual
terms and
SLL,
definitions.
what it
And then
is
have
that
another
you're
one
asking.
that's more,
So,
in depth and, asking more
Because
questions.
some of my kids are functional, it's like, can they even identify the planet that we live
That's
on?
pretty challenging for your
Yeah.
group too.
So maybe,
Yeah, absolutely.
one day you would
But I
just
don't
have them
want to,
recall
like, I was thinking
definitions
about Julian,
or
and I don't want to limit
the
him to
different
something
look
like
at
this.
the map.
When he's interested in something,
Which you're getting into possibly a little bit like more challenging. of
yeah,
the-
like it could be, you can consider it kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, for the third grade, not the second grade. So this package.
And then this
Comparing.
yeah, comparing. And then for Indian, they're, and basically it's the same thing, like it just started with, can they even identify an American Indian? Can they, we've talked about basic needs in the past, so it's like, it's kind of like why I highlighted the words that I want them to kind of hone in on. Can they figure out that they need to go fishing?
So, you already had given this lesson?
Yeah.
Oh, next week, okay, okay.
And then
For your, sorry,
No,
for some of your students, have you found that, I mean, like, would it make, I know like for right now, this is just, one page, would it make any difference for like the CJ or Julian of like cutting those out and like having like it more of a, how we usually present our assessments? Science too,
Right. And sometimes it's
Or they
one
might
of,
cut
and
it up on their
sometimes, yeah, and sometimes it's one of these things. too.
Absolutely.
So we may not necessarily present it 100% like that at the same time. And everything is always read aloud. And the reason I use pictures is because my kids can read,
Right.
but they can't interpret pictures.
And when they hear those like basic things that, not basics, but like the vocabulary that you're using, it might stick out to them.
The following topic is gonna be.
And then some of the times, like this one I did not as abstract, but like sometimes I'll do, like if it's a really hard topic, I'll do like things that's completely not even.
And it's
But
a sort
for
of.
the formative assessment, I really try to keep it as close as I can because I don't want to have them make a correct answer for something.
That's good, because that, like, see, and then this, it's a recall, you said, and this is labeling, or it will be like sorting, and
And
recognizing.
you did that a lot with Ian's like bad work too, so.
Have you guys ever, like, for instance, like this may be covering,
That's all challenging for,
like,
I mean, even
let's see,
Julian.
what would it be, implementing,
And
maybe?
we're gonna talk about all those things, so,
Yeah, this,
I mean, and that's basically the main thing that they're supposed to learn.
no, not implementing, it's still identifying, recognizing, yeah, it's
This
all,
would put them on the level almost. Not really,
But did you ever, it's just like, recall, recognize, but maybe you give them a question that's too,
So
like,
throughout
analyzed,
the
you
week
know?
for like
So they're feeling like,
checks,
this person
kind of
lives on the
check-ins, do
river,
you
so describe
kind of
what they
give
would've
this
done.
like
yes, so something
lesson
like that,
planning,
so you
kind
give
of
them a question
like
like that,
this
or
one
maybe a
day, this
formative
the
like that
next,
during
this
the
the
week,
next,
and then you
yeah.
give them this, and.
So you're kind of doing
yank
formative
them,
assessments
because
each
they're
day
like,
of like,
what? I know more than just the
check
recall.
that, check that.
So then they're like, well, why am I this? You know, they get it's kind of like the whole vacuuming the house. Like, why am I going to show you again? When
Yeah, I know that.
Like that, like
like
so
all the time.
So I guess it's just you know, being kind of mindful. But I mean, it's hard. It's a process. You know, it's not something like you're going to right away tomorrow, you know, or anything. But yeah, we definitely want them up here. So that's why you want to start with your summative. Well, we haven't officially started. And then start kind of work back. So it's like you're starting way up here, and then you get to work kind of backwards. And there's these in your folders as well for I do, we do, you do. And I thought this was good for instructional planning because you're learning objectives, and then these are just some questions. I do. What will I model? How will I model it? What will the kids do when we do? Right there. And I thought that was helpful. I mean, I know you won't have time to use this every lesson, you know, but I mean, it's just some good things to keep in mind when you're creating your lessons, when you're using the formatives.
So just because we're doing this, that does not mean that's the assessment, you know?
Yeah, that's a key.
Okay, I'm gonna pull another ticket.
The hardest part is,
Let's see.
we know what to do, but we aren't always the one that's teaching the lesson.
I'm gonna use your homework box.
And especially
Behaviors going on, that's what we are, and because that's the
Here, do you guys want to pick a ticket?
and we have a lesson plan for the lesson, not the behavior.
Just put one.
what you planned on happening is easier for a sub to go with. Here's the lesson plan that you have. Than
All right, 420. The last three digits are 420.
Oh, that's me.
Yay!
Lucky table.
Yeah, this table is lucky. It's the lucky Irish. Look, they all have green on.
That is a good point, though, Becky.
How are you doing over here?
For next steps for our classrooms, definitely.
It's interesting, like
Get them more familiar with.
They're very difficult.
Yeah.
Because like the formative and then just regular formative assessments.
I'm over here pushing interactive, but he likes soccer.
Oh, okay.
We're really talking about computers and iPads and papers.
Well, here, I mean, my students, when they see all these lines and have to write all this, and then form a sentence.
Yeah. What about if you?
I would do Socrates and just do multiple choice.
Okay.
And add more visuals so that they can see more accustomed to
Sure. Yeah.
it. So.
And I have a question with mine.
Yeah.
Mine is just to demonstrate knowledge. Well, I guess it does say language, so I have the question.
Demonstrate knowledge.
I didn't say demonstrate.
And he's like,
So maybe demonstrate, another synonym for demonstrate would be apply. Right? Demonstrate.
Yeah.
And understand, an understanding of
Geography.
So with the cardinal directions, I have them posted around the room, and today they had to go to.
Good. Yeah.
Would that be?
That would be
Informative with demonstrating that they're showing you which
Teaching them.
sure. Yeah.
She will
Yeah, definitely.
different than what they're actually able to do.
See performances, simulations. So you had like an actual, it was like a compass rose in the room.
like four corners ahead.
And you could also have, I was telling the other group, you could also have even because this is so long, for them. And you know how always in social studies and science that there are always those key terms that you have to, you just want to make sure they know. So you could have even one summative that is just like key terms, and then
We did that
other
too
one.
with, a map shows what places look like from above. I noticed one student, he thought the map showed from below, and he knew that it was what he saw from pointing down, but he called that from below. So we did Simon Says, and I put your hands above your head, and then they above.
That'd be ongoing formative assessment by using data to.
Yeah, so that would be.
Did they do it? Did they not do it?
Use the picture to answer
They
questions.
identified the Indian during PowerPoint. Like they are saying.
So they have to know the map skills, what symbols represents, and they have to be able to apply these.
Behaviors too, but they can sit there and have a conversation.
And then, let's see, problem sets, performances, labs, prototypes, simulations.
In our class, it's like, gotta go.
Fast pace.
Which picture shows, which one's this? Oh, this.
Ordering.
Which picture shows the shape of Virginia?
That was your.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of mine have that, and we are gonna do a booklet with the team that have little this and that, and then they get.
You still get it revised.
Oh, yeah, we kind of do a lot of hands-on things like that.
Yes, definitely. That would be demonstrating what they know.
This is so funny, on question 5 it says, use a picture to answer question 5. This picture is called A. They go, it says map legend right on it.
But some of them wouldn't notice that though, right? That is really funny. Maybe you have to wait it out, but that's before you give it to them. Right, that's true.
Some of them did call it a symbol finder, but I went back and I said, hey, it is a map legend, and look, it even says it right there, so that they kind of know, okay, yeah, you're right.
That even is like a individual wide.
Yeah.
Virginia Beach has this summative assessment, okay, but it's a performance task. It's not multiple choice, it is
Right.
to do a basic project and to solve something. Now, I know there's a rubric.
Which one is that for?
Systems for nature and third grade.
We do that. Thumbs up, middle, down.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You guys are doing that now?
Yeah.
Running records.
All you need is just, and if you look up at the
I guess I feel like sometimes because I don't always have it.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing, I think, misconception of formative assessment. It doesn't mean formal.
Proficient. Answer the essential questions. How does energy drive cycles in nature?
Yeah, my question is, I just feel like I like it, but at the same time, like, I feel like, it's one thing to do it, but it's one thing to
So this is like serious application and being able to,
No, Rose has loved that you're doing that and then your lesson plans, that it has just that data check right there.
it's time.
it's not, I don't kind of care about time so much, but it's just
But they know their kids, as I said, your kids are not always going to be one to write
as far as,
and two, be able to,
Well, maybe you
show what
guys,
they know.
could do like a little research project.
I mean,
That would be like that with these
really
questions.
like the two parents that I
And
think
then
of
plus
that
they'd be
would
working
be
on their
looking for
computer
the
skills
paper
too.
based.
But you could do it as a group.
how do you feel about doing a project over
Oh, I mean,
multiple choice questions?
Like show that progress, because this could be very, not just, very not biased or like, it's based on one teacher might feel this way, one teacher.
Yeah.
Multiple choice is very clear cut.
right, if there's a right or wrong
Yeah.
answer, yeah. Yeah.
Guys, one more minute, we're gonna get back together.
Yeah, that,
I mean, I like this because it does hit all the SOLs.
yeah. And it has some, higher order thinking.
Yeah.
Higher order thinking for sure.
Which I know why Virginia Beach did that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's okay.
Well, that's like, I asked them.
The wall said.
And I'm sure you would use this one. And that's